All right. My name's Andrew McLaren. I am the father of three kids. My daughter Zoe is 9. My sons Alex and Andrew are 12 and 13, in that order. Uh, they live on Signal Mountain. My parents live in Chattanooga. I live in Chattanooga. I grew up in New York. I ended up down here because my ex wife got remarried, and I ended up down here in 2013 so I could be close to my kids. And
Yeah.
then I convinced my elderly parents to move down here so I could be close to them. My dad's a Vietnam vet. He's an Ivy League graduate and was a stockbroker for 37 years. And then my mother is a retired social worker and then probation officer. So I come from good stock. They adopted me when I was 3 months old. By the grace of God, I was adopted by great people. I'm a Christian. I'm a college graduate with a liberal arts degree. I write. I like to write movies and scripts, short stories, and I've had some success in Hollywood. But my bread and butter, since getting out of the Marine Corps, I'm an Iraq War veteran, and I've also served in Liberia, Africa, and I've gone on to protect people in over 70 countries, as well as do private investigations, rescue kids that have been kidnapped over in Africa. Um, my bread and butter is doing private investigations and protecting people. So
So
I've got to
you were
protect a
you were
lot
in,
of.
you were in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, yeah. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. I'm a combat veteran. I served in Iraq. And then I went back with the State Department. So I was a federal contractor working in Iraq, protecting American diplomats after the Marines. But in the
Was that
Marines, I got to travel.
did you
Oh,
enjoy that or what?
I did. I mean, I love the camaraderie. I loved getting up when you the stuff that you don't like, the running every morning. You realize how great it was. I mean, getting up and just really challenging yourself physically to run as far as you possibly can with packs and work out, and it really it's the discipline that's instilled upon you to wake up at 5:30 every morning and go out, and we were running 10 miles sometimes with boots and utes or our camouflage utilities and packs, and we really pushed ourselves. So that the discipline I definitely miss, and then the camaraderie. After we do all these insane workouts, and then you might go train, practice taking down a house, and you're shooting simunition, which is like paintballs at each other, and you go through all these scenarios, and you ride on helicopters doing all this training. Then you go out and you have fun as a group, as a family, and then you get ready for a real mission. All of a sudden, we get a real mission to go and secure the embassy in Liberia, Monrovia, Liberia, that's under attack during their civil war back in 2003. And you just realize, like, wow, it can go from being in Spain, which was my first duty station, and feeling like you're basically on a government paid vacation, to, oh wow, things just got real in a hurry. Like we're leaving ASAP to go, to go into a combat zone. And then the it was obviously a life changing experience. It was indelible, training the Iraqi army and building up a bond with people that our country was at war with a couple of years earlier. And now you have to find the humanity and find the love in your common man to go out on joint missions together with your Iraqi counterparts. But then
Well,
I've gone on to do, yeah, I've gone done ship security off of East Africa to protect ships from Somali pirates. We've done anti-human trafficking in Kenya. I worked in Tanzania, Oman, Yemen, um, all over Europe. The only continents I have not been to are Antarctica and Australia. So I definitely have to go to both before I die. But I'm an everyday person. I've had these extraordinary stories and gotten to travel the world and protect royal families and billionaires and CEOs and fly on private jets and be on super yachts and help the Bahamas rebuild, help Puerto Rico rebuild after the earthquakes last year. Everybody knows about the hurricanes. Some people don't know about the earthquakes, and we helped the Bahamas rebuild. But at my essence, I'm really a minimalist. I have a little like beach getaway that's very modest in Puerto Rico, and I grow my own crops on there, fruits, and I'm on the beach, and that's my getaway spot. And here in Chattanooga, I like to fish, I like to garden, I like horticulture. So yes, I have this whole Hollywood side where I like to produce movies. We did a movie about human trafficking in Central America, and we helped reunite families with their loved ones who were since deceased, and we got some good information. And my last film was about Afro Latinas in Hollywood, which it's interesting for these actresses because they've got the dream to be a famous actress, and then when they go to audition, they get told, "Well, you're too black to play Hispanic, but you're too Hispanic to play black." So instead of being victims, this is based on a true story. This actor says, "You know what? Nobody's casting me. I'm just going to make my own films." And I kind of feel so. That's why I partially funded this film was it was such an inspirational story, and we won the Latino Film Festival and got picked up by HBO and HBO Max, and that's called Riso. But that story is kind of like my life because I feel that if nobody's knocking on your door, we have to build our own door. And I've seen the local government neglect people here in Chattanooga. I've seen the local government in here lose $6 million worth of LED lights like Wade Hinton did. And I've seen the local government lie, blatantly lie about ending veterans homelessness so that Mayor Burke could use homeless veterans as a prop to get more private donations from companies and use it as a campaign point of, hey, this is what we did. Homeless veterans are net zero. So when I knew that there was homeless veterans out there, this is where me and Mayor Burke had our falling out. I went out and interviewed them and recorded it and said, hey, you're a veteran, right? I mean, I don't like having to, I don't want it to seem like people are being exploited, but I go, are you cool with being on camera? I go, can you please let the people know that there are homeless veterans out here in Chattanooga? And I contacted Chuck Alsobrook, who's the veterans rep for Hamilton County, and I contacted Congress. And I don't know why they were doing this in the city, maybe to get probably to get more money and to try to use it as a campaign issue. But if I'm elected mayor, we are going to have the most transparent administration ever. We're going to govern with empathy, with integrity. I'm going to turn City Hall into a homeless shelter to where every available government house or I'm sorry, room is going to be given to our most vulnerable, whether they're tornado refugees, whether they're homeless citizens who need rehabilitation or job placement. And I believe that if we can monitor them and help them, that's how we're going to get them back into society and really rehabilitate them. I think that we need to end the war on the poor and wage a war on poverty. And I'm not perfect. I'm not a saint, but I try to live my life with Christian values, and I try to be to seek to understand before I'm understood. Now, my grandfather, who since passed away, was the head English professor at Youngstown University. He grew up very poor in Astoria, Queens, where he met my grandmother. He used to shine shoes in the Great Depression. And then he went off to World War II and it was in France and fought the Nazis, came back and earned his PhD on the GI Bill. He wrote for the newspaper. He was a philosopher, and he was a big fan and student of St. Francis of Assisi. So I also love St. Francis of Assisi, and I believe in also studying Thomas Aquinas, MLK, natural law. I believe that lex in US non est lex, that we must stand up against unjust laws. We must stand up against corrupt governments. Yes, respect authority, and I lost a lot of support when I stood up for the police department. And I want people to know that it's not that I am blind to police misconduct. I'm the only candidate out there that's calling on Police Chief David Roddy to resign, and the only candidate on the record that said I will fire Police Chief Roddy for vicarious liability. We've just had too many scandals. And my issue is that when the three blue team reports, the three internal affairs reports were scrubbed from the system at the CPD, Roddy was in internal affairs at the time. So if he didn't know about it somehow, he should have known about it. So for vicarious liability, I would want a fresh start. In addition, he's just too close to the mayor for my liking. I would want my police chief to be Glenn Scruggs, who I trust and I think would be a fresh start for the community. He was an excellent homicide detective, and he grew up poor in Avondale, and I think he really understands proactive and community policing, and that'll be in line with my goals for mentoring community members. We do gang intervention. We tell people that, and we get people jobs. And I say, look, if you put the drugs and the guns down, I'm going to get you a job at my friend's construction company, but you have to meet us halfway. I understand that it's unrealistic for me to just say, hey, stop selling drugs because this is how you make money. And you're not going to go to a job making minimum wage at McDonald's, but I can get you a decent salary, but you have to work with me. And I'm not saying all gang members are bad. I've met a lot of good gang members that just joined because their whole neighborhood's in the gang, and they join the gangs to feel like they have some sense of a union and some sense of a power structure for protection. But I have a problem with the criminality in the gangs, the selling the drugs, the pimping women, the doing the drugs and the crime and robbing people and shooting people. So I think that out of all the candidates, I'm the only one that I know of that's doing food and toy drives in the projects, that's walking around the projects at night, handing out baby formula and diapers and talking to people, bringing cops together with Black Lives Matter. I brought the head of Black Lives Matter to meet David Roddy during the head of the protests. And I did that through David Young, the head of the Chattanooga Black Police Officers Association. When Mayor Burke was hiding in his mansion, I was out marching and talking to people and set up that meeting with Police Chief Roddy and Cameron Williams. And some good things came out of it. It takes time. I don't believe in transactional relationships. It takes years to build up this trust and build up this sense of um, communication and honesty with each other. That you can't just. I've been building these relationships up with years with people to where when I say something, they know that I'm not just doing it for attention. I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Hey, let me just tell everybody that you're watching an interview with uh, Andrew McLaren, who is running for mayor of Chattanooga. The election is March 2nd. Uh, Voter registration is over, but early voting started February the 10th and goes to the 25th. And then the election, I say, is on March 2nd. If there's a runoff, and there most certainly will be, there's 15 candidates in it, it will be in sometime in mid-April. So a lot of politics in front of us. Andrew, we've enjoyed talking to you. Tell me, you've had a lot of experiences and you got a lot of involvement in a lot of things. Have you ever worked? The mayor has 9 council people. Um,
Yes.
he's not king. Have you ever worked in a situation where you had to work with a group of people to get things done?
Oh, absolutely. Well, City Councilwoman Coonrod's actually come to my house, and she's a good friend of mine, and we work together a lot. I'm very active with the city council races, and I'm supposed to be meeting with Ken Smith, but yeah, my city councilman's Chip Henderson. I'm well aware of all the city council members, and they sometimes actually hit me up for advice. But when I was in Blackwater and for the State Department, I would have to plan our routes. I was our intelligence analyst, and then I would have to go out with the assistant ambassador or John McCain or all these different senators that we were protecting. And I would have to take CIA, Delta Force, Navy SEALs, FBI, and put together our primary, secondary, tertiary routes to make sure that we get the assistant ambassador out to the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Oil. And so we would have this team when we have, everybody is on the same rank, but you do have a tactical commander, you have an agent in charge, you have your shift leader, you have me, our intelligence analyst, and you have to navigate the human terrain and work with that team. When I'm planning things for movies that are filming overseas in dangerous countries, I'm having to work with the host nation assets such as the government, maybe the police, maybe the military that's helping augment our security, and then having to work with our film production. So yes, absolutely. I'm always working with teams, and I think that I'm a bridge builder, and that well, I know I'm a bridge builder, and I can bring people together the same way I did when I was a team leader in the Marine Corps or when I was doing intelligence for the State Department. And it's by being humble, having humility, realizing that if you correct a fool, he'll hate you, but if you correct a wise man, he'll love you. And I get better by hearing different perspectives. And some people told me, "Oh, don't talk to them. They're too Republican. Watch out for them. They're going to try to jam you up." And I said, "Well, I'm an independent, and my philosophy is I want to talk to every single person in Chattanooga in every different ideology, and not shut people off, not shut people on the far left off, not shut people off on the far right, because I've got friends in all different types of positions, and that's how I think we're going to move forward. Is if we actually sit down and talk. And I love smoking cigars, and I'm upset that my friend's cigar place went out of business on downtown. Mike Hunter, he still has one on Shalford, but that was a great time to turn the phone off, turn the distractions off, sit down and have a talk face to face. And I'll tell you what, we've never had an argument face to face, but
Are
on
you a
Facebook,
cigar guy?
yeah. I love smoking
Oh my!
cigars.
I was so sorry to see Burns shut down downtown. I was sad.
Oh yeah, I was a member downtown, and Mike's a great friend of mine. And that was one of the coolest places because I would get to smoke cigars with Bill Carter, federal judge Bill Carter, and pick his brain. I would get to talk to Dean Arnold, who's an author, and we would talk about Old Money, New South, his book, and his book on Ethiopia. And you would get to have so many, and Bishop Bishop Minister T.J. Johnson, and all these cool people with different perspectives. And it really was amazing. And other pastors would come in, and that's what I love. And we've never had an argument. We've had heated debates, but it's never been toxic. But the social media, forget about it. Everybody is just blocking each other and getting so angry. So I really do think that we need to bring back the face-to-face communication and talk to each other. And there's so many. The reason why I fell in love with Chattanooga, because obviously I've traveled all over the world, besides my parents and my kids being here, is because it really does have a lot of patriotic people and a really unique and passionate group of activists here that are going out and just doing amazing things. So I think we've got so much potential here. I just get frustrated because I see a lot of bureaucratic red tape that's hindering things in the city.
Tell me this, Andrew. What would be your top three issues if you were elected? What would be the first top three for you?
Okay, well, definitely affordable wages. We have to get wages up here. A lot of experts have said that we don't have a housing crisis here in Chattanooga. We have a wage crisis. People are not making enough money to keep up with the rising rent costs. Rent costs in Chattanooga are skyrocketing. The cost of living is skyrocketing. We have to get affordable wages up. 40% of city employees, including our firefighters, are being paid below the federal poverty line. It's outrageous that our firefighters are making $10 an hour. So we have to get affordable wages up. I also believe that we need to protect our environment. We need to get ourselves in line with the EPA consent decree. We need to clean up our city. I want to plant fruit trees in the projects. And the reason why I want to do this is it gives people a sense of having their own property, of having pride, of having access to nutrition, teaching kids about horticulture and about gardening and planting fruit trees. And also, it purifies our air. I am against overdevelopment and building these gaudy and these tacky 4-story condos everywhere and tearing down our trees. I think that I love taking my kids to Coolidge Park and sliding down the hills on the cardboard. I love taking them to Prentice Cooper State Forest. I think that our natural beauty and the river brings in a lot of tourists, and it's really something special about the scenic city. And I'm very concerned about the amount of trees that I see being cut down and traffic increasing. But there's no new gas stations, but we have lines stacking up at the gas stations. So yes, I'm for smart development. I'm against overdevelopment. So livable wages, protecting our environment, including our water, our air, and then thirdly, um, poverty. I think we have to go after poverty because poverty is the root of crime. We have a big crime problem in Chattanooga, and it really is a tale of two cities. We have one part of Chattanooga where it's very safe and prosperous, and then we have another section of Chattanooga to where people are getting shot and killed all the time. And I think the main root of the crime and of teenage, so many things come from poverty. Teenage pregnancy comes from poverty. Um, our educational system is impacted because of poverty, and I know a lot of people say that's a county issue, but we have to do a better job in our city of monitoring the county. But food insecurity, childhood trauma, single mothers who have to decide whether or not they want to go to work or whether they want to stay home with their kids because their kids are in virtual learning due to the pandemic. So, livable wages, protecting our environment, and getting people out of poverty and giving them financial stability, which is really going to, which is, it's got so many different layers to it. But my main issue boils down to poverty. We have to get people off the streets. We have to get people into jobs. We have to get them sustainable incomes, and we have to repair the broken human spirit in Chattanooga. And that's where I see that I think that myself and Hamilton Flourishing, I read a lot of the book of the Proverbs that you sent me, and I looked it
Good.
over. And yes, and I'm an avid reader. So one of my favorite things to do is smoke a cigar and read. And I think that reading for leaders is paramount. It is complete. It is so necessary. And I love to read and I love to write. So I think that we have a um, we have a spirituality problem in our country, and I think that this is hurting us because we are putting the wrong people up on pedestals. We are glorifying this trap culture in the inner city of selling drugs, of objectifying women. And I am completely against that. And I'm trying to counter this. this narrative to where this is what's cool, is to glorify criminality and over sexualizing women.
How old are your children, Andrew?
My daughter's 9, and then my son Alex is 12, and then my other son Andrew is 13.
Yeah. Yeah, those are ages that you really start getting concerned about your children getting out in the world and stuff. So I
Yeah,
get it.
luckily they're doing great. They've won awards from the state in mathematics and science. I mean, they are just amazing kids. And that
That's
is the cool
great.
thing about them living on top of Signal Mountain, is they kind of have like a Huckleberry Finn lifestyle. My daughter's, feeding the raccoons and yeah, like riding the bicycles around. It's still like, and then I'm down campaigning in the projects, and it's just to go from what my kids luckily are blessed with to then seeing what these kids. I mean, I see kids in the inner city in Chattanooga, they're in diapers walking. I've taken kids out of the middle of the street that are about to get run over, and I'm looking for their parents, and then I find the mother is prostituting herself and hooked on drugs, and I'm calling the police. I'm friends with Glenn Scruggs, who's the head of patrol, and I'm like, we got to clean this up. This is just kids that are going to get run over. They're walking around in the middle of the street in diapers, and it's just it's so. But that's what reminds me of why I'm running. And I saw a little girl with Down syndrome, and her brother pick her up and put her into the shopping cart, and she was facing him, and he's pushing her around, and the look of love between her and her brother, that he's her protector. And I feel like I'm Chattanooga's protector, and this is what I do. I protect people, and I see a lot of fake people running that are pretending to care about the people of Chattanooga. And in my opinion, their heart's not in it for the people. I'm only going to accept a rookie cop salary of $34,000 a year. The remaining $128,000 of my mayoral salary is going to go directly and transparently to helping our most vulnerable. And I've bought beds out of my own pocket when I saw kids sleeping in public housing on the floor without a mattress. And I said, why do these kids not have a mattress if they're in government housing? Well, we got the beds, but they're up in Cleveland. Okay, I have a truck. I'm going to go up to Cleveland and get it. Well, you can't because you don't have the proper city license. Well, I said, this is ridiculous, and I'm just going to buy the beds. So this type of bureaucratic red tape that is stopping the city government from helping people, I'm going to slice through it like a hot knife through butter. I'm a fighter, and I'm going to fight for people, and I'm not going to back down.
Well, believe it or not, Andrew, you have answered every question that I didn't ask you just by your stream of consciousness. And so you've done a great job. Let me tell everybody any last words. Why should people vote for you?
Okay, well, it comes down to, hey, we like Andrew, but he's kind of young. I'm 40 years old, and is he electable? He walks around wearing African shirts that he got in Africa. He wears necklaces that he got in Colombia. He's so different. He's so different. He's ethnically ambiguous. He doesn't have a southern twang. Is he electable? And I say, yes, I am electable. Some people say that I'm ahead of my time. I say, what better time is it to get people off of the streets? What better time is it to get kids fed that are hungry? What better time is it to stand up for our educational system? What better time is it to hold corrupt bureaucrats accountable? Some people say that I'm ahead of my time, and I'll take that as a compliment. But I think the time is now that we take our city back for the people, because this is a government for the people, by the people, and of the people. And as far as I know, I'm the only candidate that's worked for the federal government. I know how to navigate HUD, and we can get these government grantings. I can bring federal money in. I can work with Governor Lee. I can work with Republicans. I can work with Democrats. I can work with independents. I can work with Black, whites, and Latinos because I'm already doing it. And I built up alliances in the city council because I know that I'm not a dictator or king. I have to build up a coalition of the willing. I'm a people person. I'm a bridge builder, and I'm never going to get a big ego. I'm always going to remember that no matter how big I get, it can all be taken away from a moment's notice. And I'm going to keep my ear to the ground, and I'm going to remain fully accessible and transparent. And I'm going to work my hardest for the people of Chattanooga every day, every second of every minute of every hour of every day.
Well,
So
that's
I
great.
humbly and I kindly ask for your support.
Let me ask you one last question. Is there any on your web? Do you have a website?
Yes, it's McLarenformayor.com.
I'm sure that's up on our website. And is there a way to contact you if people want to volunteer or anything on your website?
Yes, there's a link on the website to hit volunteer, and you can email me.
Yeah.
And then I'm also on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. You just type in
Okay.
my name, Andrew McLaren. Then I'm on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Well, I just need to tell people that if they'll go to hamiltonflourishing.org, you'll see Andrew's picture, and you click on that and you'll see his webpage, and you can contact him through that. So Andrew, much luck to you. Wish you success. Hope you sound like a very interesting guy. Have a lot of compassion. Thank you for what you've done for the country, and thank you for what you've done for the city so far. Thank you for being a bridge builder. We need more of those. We need more people uniting and less people dividing. And I like your fighting spirit a lot. So good luck to you, buddy. All right.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Bye
Have a
bye.
great day.